The snow's been falling pretty consistently for, I'd say, about the last hour and a half, and it's picking up. I'm not sure if you can really see it kind of just coming through the wind here, but it is moving fast. Exactly. I've spent months putting in public records requests trying to learn more on why the chief was on leave, if he was being paid for with tax dollars while he was out of the office, and what the future of the department would look like. This is the HQ for Stefanik tonight. Things look different here than they did in 2018. So what does youth sports look like in the era of COVID-19? Well, it looks similar to this. CVPH says it's doing okay for now, but if these COVID cases continue on the trend they're going, they are going to reach their tipping point. People have told me that this has been a long time coming. They also said they're still on the fence about it. The medical marijuana dispensary here is already gearing up for both medicinal and recreational use. Well, the fun don't stop here at Champlain Center. The bounce is back and kids have been jumping for joy now that it's back open.
Prior to the pandemic, I worked at a nursery that closed.
Gladys Mejia is a mother of 3 young children in Ontario County. She says, like many, the pandemic was tough for her and her family. She didn't receive any federal funds.
Really difficult because of the pandemic, especially economically and other reasons, but more so economically.
She says she's grateful that the state is stepping in to help families like hers to help pay the bills after being out of work.
Yes, it is very important. It is important for so many families to pay rent, to pay utilities.
The money will come from the Excluded Workers Fund. That fund includes $2.1 billion for undocumented immigrants who were affected by the pandemic but weren't eligible for any federal money, like unemployment or stimulus payments, because of their immigration status.
Putting their lives at risk every day to provide while they're not getting anything.
The money will be divvied up into 2 separate tiers. One is $15,600 per worker. That equates to the unemployment benefits many received over the last year. The second is $3,200, which equates to the 3 rounds of stimulus payments. The Fiscal Policy Institute estimates that 290,000 undocumented immigrants in New York will be eligible for at least one tier.
It's something that we needed to do and something that we were really working hard to make sure that we passed.
Grassroots groups like the Worker Center of Central New York fought for this legislation, holding statewide protests and hunger sit-ins.
I think it just shows the power of the people and the power to be heard regardless of status here.
But local lawmakers say there could have been a better use for the $2.1 billion of taxpayer dollars.
What is the state's obligation? What is the taxpayer's obligation? What's the appropriate use of tax dollars? Mm-hmm. Not $2.1 billion to people that are here illegally, that were working off the books illegally. I don't want to reward illegal behavior with tax dollars.
Back to Gladys. She's grateful, and her story is just one of the many stories like it in the state.
It is not only I who needs it, but it's other people who really need the money.
We want them to be healthy, first and foremost.
Students line up in the Memorial Hall gym to get their first dose of the COVID-19 vaccine.
The fear of just getting the virus, it just scares me a lot.
SUNY Plattsburgh's Dr. Kathleen Camello worked with the local health departments at the hospital and health departments to secure nearly 500 doses of the Moderna vaccine. Tuesday was spent getting those shots in arms. The hospital helped with its 100 doses in the morning, and the Clinton County Health Department spent the afternoon using its 360 doses.
They make up a big portion of our population when they're here. They have a big impact on the numbers in our area. Getting them vaccinated is another great step to moving forward.
The process was smooth for the students. They could sign up beforehand or in person, wait their turn, and if they had any questions before the shot, they had crews ready to answer.
Do you guys mind if I ask some of the questions?
You can ask any question you want.
Students would wait 15 minutes after receiving their shots to make sure there were no side effects. That gave students time to reflect.
Thank God. I didn't have to travel all the way from here because I don't know, being an international student, I don't know Plattsburgh very much. So thank God for SUNY Plattsburgh for giving me this vaccine. It means a lot.
This clinic is offered to all students, no matter their home zip code.
Really residents of the county while they go to school.
How are you today?
Moderna is a 2-shot vaccine, so the students will need 1 more dose in 3 weeks. That will bring them to the week before finals, leaving the students fully vaccinated before they head home for summer break.
We're helping to protect the community that they're in right now, and we're helping to protect the community they'll be going back to at the end of the semester.
My name is Mia.
This is Mia Marie Taylor.
Wow.
You can tell the 5-year-old from Peru loves to be silly.
Everyone, paint.
She never goes anywhere without a smile, and painting is her favorite thing to do.
Every single day. She loves it.
2 days after her 3rd birthday, Mia was diagnosed with autism.
It blows my mind every day to see how much outside of the box that she thinks. And I think that's one of the most beautiful things of the spectrum.
When everything seems to be moving fast, it's painting that helps slow the world down.
This is Easter over here. I feel like we understand her more watching her do art and express herself more than verbally.
Mia has always been creative, but her paintings don't just hang on the fridge like you see in most families. Her paintings are hanging on the walls of strangers' homes.
I want to say last year we raised almost $3,000.
Each painting, special to Mia, is raffled off to community members, and all the money goes right back to organizations that help her so much, like Autism Alliance. This was not Mom Jessica's idea. It was all Mia.
We had the idea, well, what if I paint? I said, you know what? That is just a fantastic idea. Let's do it.
Abstract, animals, ornaments, personalized letters mailed straight to you. Mia has made them all. But this year, the proceeds are staying closer to home. Mia has digestion issues. Next week, she's scheduled for a 12-hour surgery in New York City, where doctors plan to explore her digestive tract. All the money she's raised will go towards her medical bills.
She's like stronger than I think I ever possibly could be.
Mom says despite her medical issues, Mia is always smiling.
Thank you, I love
you. Even after 9/11, the border was not this restricted. For a year now, cross-border travel has been limited to essential travel only. Cross-border commerce is a multi-billion-dollar industry, and with it being closed, the county is missing out on millions. It's been nearly 365 days of a bare border.
It's been the most challenging year I think we've had for decades.
The restrictions that we've seen in place for the past year have pretty much been unprecedented in my recollection of time at the border in over 20 years.
The Champlain Port of Entry is one of the largest on the northern border, being a direct line from Montreal to New York City. You can see that in the numbers. In 2018, over 330,000 vehicles were counted crossing the border. In 2019, it was up over 342,000.
Our traffic has declined for personal travel over 90%.
A dramatic drop in 2020, down to just 30,000 vehicles. With bus companies hitting the brakes and personal travel prohibited, the northern border looks like a ghost town, and it's having a ripple effect on nearby communities.
It's been very different. Let's start with different. Difficult and different.
People who live on or near the border are used to crossing it regularly to go grab coffee for a quick shopping trip or a weekend getaway to the city.
And it goes both ways. As much as we want them to come see us and interact with us, we look forward to going to Quebec.
Our neighbors to the north are a key component for the North Country's economy.
On a good year, and last year was set to be a good year if things hadn't changed, Canadians spend over $350 million in retail purchases in Clinton County alone, never mind the other neighboring counties.
When the pandemic hit and the county realized what it could mean for its bottom line, it quickly moved to see where it could cut costs. The region banks on tourism, and while some parts made it out okay thanks to shopping local and downstaters coming up to get out of the city, not all businesses benefited. At many area marinas, boats spent the warmer months out of water, a majority of the boat owners being blocked by the border. Campgrounds, another industry that counts on Canadians, were left empty. That lack of tourists trickled down to local businesses that rely on those day trips or weekend getaways to use their businesses, like Lakeside Coffee in Rouse's Point.
Thank you so much. Have a good day.
We noticed a significant decline in gross revenue.
From a financial standpoint, the entire county is experiencing a significant loss.
Plattsburgh Town Supervisor Michael Cashman says to understand the effects of the border closure, all you need to do is look at the parking lots and see the lack of Quebec license plates that once filled the lots.
I think it's still going to be a long while until people fully understand what that impact was, well past even when the Canadian border reopens.
So where is the light at the end of the tunnel? What will it take to get the border back open? Officials on both sides of the border say it's this, the vaccine. Getting shots in arms to as many people as possible to reach herd immunity and get back to normal, whatever that new normal may look like. The only issue is the rollout.
The vaccines aren't rolling out in Canada. Canada is woefully behind the U.S. We need to just say that forthrightly so everybody understands they are months behind us.
It's estimated that Canada is 2 to 3 months behind the U.S. when it comes to getting residents the vaccine.
We're frustrated in Canada about the lack of vaccine, which is a failure of the government to a large degree. And we've been locked down.
Federal partners are working on a plan to reopen, but are not getting much back from the Canadian government in terms of solutions.
And frankly, it's crickets in response. There just is no political will, no popular demand at the present time on the northern side of the border to move that needle.
I think we're all going to wait patiently until such a time as the health situation allows us to loosen border restrictions internationally. That'll be eventually, but not for today.
Those I spoke with are hopeful that as more doses go out, the restrictions could start to loosen, but the interest in reopening needs to come from both sides of the border.
We will continue to press those things. I'm less optimistic today than I was 2 weeks ago.
Now, there is no date set right now for personal travel over the northern or southern border. Officials expect it will remain closed for months to come. Live in Plattsburgh, Kelly O'Brien, Channel 3 News.